Hello, welcome back to our YouTube channel. This is still one of our first few videos, but the last several videos that I posted have been pregnancy content. So we thought that it would be a good idea to change it up in case you're sick of pregnancy content. If not, there will be more pregnancy content, but we're going to take a break from that for now and do a Q&A. Since we have a lot of new faces on here, we wanted to do a Q&A so that you guys can get to know us a little better. And I did a Q&A on my Instagram, so that's where the questions are coming from. So I guess we will go ahead and get started. So the first question was, how did you and Cody meet? And then the second one was, what's your love story? So we'll just combine the two because they're very similar and related. And this is actually a very fun story. I love telling it. There's like a short version and a really long version, so maybe we'll tell like the medium version. But we met in college. We both went to college at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, and we met in the speech and debate club. So I was a freshman and Cody was a sophomore, and I had just joined the debate team. It was like the first tournament that I had gone to, and at the tournaments there was like a lot of downtime, so I was just kind of hanging out by myself because I didn't know anyone, and I first saw Cody when I looked over and saw that there were some people in the back, like the back of the room, gathered around a whiteboard, and I saw the word God on the whiteboard. So me, being a Christian, that kind of piqued my interest, so I just walked over and asked what they were doing, and they said, oh, we're just trying to figure out if God exists or not. So we talked about that for a few minutes, and I found out that everyone like around there was an atheist or an agnostic. And Cody was in that group, so we didn't like specifically talk, like, just us then, but later on, it was either like the next day or the day after that, Cody messaged me on GroupMe and said that, like, hey, I was one of the people in the group, and I know that you're a Christian, and he's like meeting with people to try to ask them questions, so he asked if I would want to meet with him so that he could talk to me about Christianity. And you might be thinking that sounds like a date, and I was kind of wondering that too, but now we can say that it was not like that at first. I was actually not special. Cody was meeting with a lot of...
You're not special.
It wasn't special that you were asking me to ask questions. So he was meeting with apparently a bunch of people at the time, like Christians, atheists, like just anyone. He was just really trying to figure out what he believed. And so yeah, he asked me for a meeting, and we met, I think it was at like the coffee shop or something, and
yeah, it was like the student union,
yeah,
but had a coffee shop.
Student union, Starbucks, and it turned into like a 3-hour meeting of Cody basically grilling me about Christianity and my beliefs and everything like that. So we had like no small talk, nothing like that. Like, it was very intense. And so after we had that one meeting, I had to run because I was really late for work because of our meeting. So we agreed to meet again because we just figured there was a lot that we needed to talk about. So we started meeting every week.
Yeah, and from my perspective, this was very casual. Like mine were just like asking questions and rebuttals and all that kind of thing. Super casual for me. But yeah.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, for me it was like a lot of pressure because I was a Christian and I wanted him to be a Christian too. So we had our meetings, and we kind of just started like picking the topic, like Buddhism or some other type of religion, or some issue, abortion, something like that.
Cannibalism.
Yeah, and we would just talk about it, and so that's like how we started meeting and talking. And like at this point, like, there's nothing romantic really. Cody's just having his quarter life crisis, trying to figure out what he believes, and I'm just a Christian, and I think this is just a really good witnessing opportunity. So we did this for a couple of months. We met in January of 2020, and then we met in person until March, and then that also happened to be the year of COVID.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, so we all got sent home. I already lived at home, so I just came right back here, and Cody had to go like 2 hours away, so we couldn't meet in person anymore. So before we were separated, I gave him a book to read called The Case for Christ. because that book was just really instrumental in my faith and a lot of people that I know coming to faith. So I gave that book to him, and we pretty much included, like, we had made some progress with Christianity and God and stuff, but it pretty much came down to the question of Jesus, that if he died and resurrected, then that would mean that God not only existed, but that Christianity was true as well, if Jesus was God. So we were separated for the summer, and we kept meeting on Zoom and just kept talking. And I think Cody read the book in like May or June, a couple months after he got sent back, and became a Christian. And that was just awesome. Like, I remember waking up from a text from him that he stayed up to like 3 a.m., thinking about it, and he said, "Good morning, fellow Christian." And that was awesome. And so at that point, I thought that like the point of our relationship was that like I got to witness to someone, help bring them to Christianity, and Cody got to have a lot of his questions answered. So there was still really, I would say, not really anything romantic still, because like I didn't want to date someone who wasn't a Christian or didn't have my values. So once Cody became a Christian, it wasn't like he stopped having questions.
Yes, that's over.
Yeah. So we still kept meeting, but over the summer we actually started becoming friends. So before it was just like all deep stuff, but then it turned into like us asking about each other's families and what we like to do for fun, and just talking about more casual things.
Yeah, because like I don't know, at least I very vividly remember the moment. Like, again, we were on Zoom. It was like the next day. It was like the whole "Hello, fellow Christians" thing. I think we immediately jumped on a Zoom call at some point, and I remember like after that, it was like the next day, and it was this. So I was thinking, I was like, so what do you like to do for fun? Because like we don't know a single thing really about each other. It was just literally no small talk and just straight questions. So it was just kind of funny. But.
Yeah. So we actually became friends, and we started just having more regular conversations. And then as he did become a Christian, like doing that has a lot of implications for your life, like your beliefs, your values, your like political views, everything. So I got to watch Cody kind of have this like cool transformation with like, the things that he believed, and our values just started becoming more aligned. And so that made me more interested in him, and I think he had the same for me. So at some point over the summer, we kind of turned into like the talking phase, which we didn't call it at the time, but looking back, like it definitely went to that. We both knew that we kind of had feelings for each other.
I don't like the talking phase as far as how people call it, but yes.
I know, but nonetheless, we were in the talking phase. And then this was later in the summer, like July maybe, Cody asked me on a Zoom call if I wanted to go on a date. And it took me a little bit by surprise, like not that much, but I was just like not expecting him to ask me out so soon. So I think, did I say yes?
Yeah.
On the call? Okay. So I said yes to going on a date, but we were still, over the summer, we didn't go back to school till August, so we didn't actually go on a date for a couple more months. But when we got back to school, we went on a date in August. And then we went on a couple more dates after that until September. And then in September, Cody asked me to be his girlfriend. And now I remember that I actually did not say yes right away. Because to me, I had never had a boyfriend before. I took dating like very seriously, maybe even a little bit too seriously. But
that was the part. That was the crazy part. Like beforehand, she really did view like very similarly what like dating was almost like the same thing of like saying yes to marriage, and it was very, very close. So like it was like some 3-day fast I think you did, and that kind of stuff too.
Yes, I fasted and prayed and just like wanted to make sure it was the right decision. But yes, I said yes to being his girlfriend. I'm very glad that I did, obviously. So we dated for 8 months throughout the school year, and we pretty much knew like after 3 months that we wanted to get married. We got to spend just so much time together, got to know each other. We're involved in all the same school stuff, like similar class schedule, like everything. So we just spent so much time together. We knew we wanted to get married after 3 months, but our families didn't exactly approve of that. So we dated for 8 months. Then we got engaged the next summer. Cody actually graduated from school a year early, So so that really helped. So yep, we got engaged and then we got married 4 months later in October. And then a lot of other crazy things happened in our life. We moved and Cody got cancer and all of that. So we're gonna do another video about that. But that is how we met and our love story. And the other question that was similar was, who said I love you first? And that was Cody. He said it pretty early on. He said I love you, and I think I said thank you.
Yeah, you sure did.
And then
Yeah.
I said it, I think maybe a couple months later.
Yeah, I think I think he even like yeah.
Yeah, it was a little bit of an awkward moment.
It was very awkward.
We both said it eventually. Let's see. The next question was, will you be moving out of the camper? If so, what are your plans for living space? So, for those of you who don't know, we have lived in a camper for the past 2 years in Knoxville, and we loved the camper life. It was a lot of fun. But now we are having a baby. So, the answer, it is kind of hard to answer this question, but the short answer is that we know where we're living a year from now. Like, we know where we'll be moving to. We don't really have an exact plan for the meantime, so we actually just moved out of the camper and started renting it out to save some money. So we are with my parents right now for a few months, and I think when the baby's born, we'll either rent something like an apartment, which it's not ideal. We would rather not rent, or we may like buy something small and fix it up, or like Cody might buy some land and put something on it, and we could live there temporarily and then just sell it whenever we're done. So that's kind of our plan right now. We know what we're doing in a year, but we just are trying to figure out what to do in the meantime. But bye-bye, camper. Okay, the next question is, what are y'all thinking for baby names? So if it's a boy, he has a name. If it's a girl, we have no idea. I don't think we're going to share the name until the baby's born, but we might after we find out the gender. I actually don't really know.
You're the only one who has a problem with that.
Oh, okay.
You're the one reserving the name.
I don't know. Well, yeah, so we might share the name after we know the gender. But yeah, the short answer is, if it's a boy, he has a name. If it's a girl, we have no idea. We could share like a couple of names that we like, I guess, but like that we're not using, at least for this baby. For boy names, I love the name Hudson. It's on.
Love a good dirty river.
Yeah, I think that's the negative about that name, is it doesn't have a very good meaning. And then the other boy name that I love is Remington, and Remy for short. I think we both love that name, but all we can think of is the rat from Ratatouille.
Is it the fat one or is it the other one?
It's the
Star
cook,
Rat. Oh yes,
the chef rat. So
main character.
that's really all I can think of. But otherwise, I love the name Remy. I think it's really cute.
There's also like there's a black individual from one of the, like, it's like another TV show when I was a kid. Austin and Ally. Austin and Ally. I think the one of the best friend's name is Remy.
Oh, maybe so.
Anyways.
I don't really remember that.
Yeah.
So for a girl name, there's really not a lot of girl names that we love. The one that I do love is the name Lottie Mae Levi. But I think that would be like, it sounds like a perfect youngest child name. So I think maybe we'll save that for like our youngest daughter.
It always reminds me of the Looney Tunes thing, like. He's
He's one of my favorite missionaries.
Okay.
So, are there any names that you like, babe?
I didn't come with a list.
It's okay.
No.
So, those are just a couple of names. Like I said, there's really like one name that we love, so we haven't really put a lot of thought into other names. So yeah, we'll see when we find out the gender. If not, we're really gonna have to think of girl names. So the next question is, how did each of you come to Christ? And I feel like we just shared a lot of Cody's testimony, because like how he became a Christian was pretty much intertwined with our relationship. But you have like a background and stuff to share.
Yeah. Just for background context, this is like basically everything else for the other love story, how we met, was just college related. So I guess before college, I grew up as a Christian. That's why I was agnostic beforehand. In college I was agnostic, but I grew up as a Christian. I was raised in a Christian household. My dad used to be a preacher from the age of like 16 and onwards, and my mom was also a very devout Christian. So that was just like very natural for me. I think I even like carried a Bible around myself, like a Bible thumper, throughout middle school and then elsewhere. Um, it was very natural for me. I had a lot of questions. I was a very curious kid, and and I lived in like in a rural area. It's like super rural, and the people whenever I had questions about God or just religion in general, Christianity, they didn't really have any answers. They just told me to have faith, um, and that was pretty much the main thing. So like I mean, it was just like some of the questions were just on the basis of like who is God, what makes someone a God, that kind of just like the kind of like traditional basic stuff. And whenever I didn't have any answers, obviously you start to doubt and question why would you believe something when there are not really any answers, especially just for foundational stuff. So that led to a lot of things for the most part initially. Then my at some point my dad kind of like was what I was told was like hurt by the church. He had something that happened in the church that made him like go away from Christianity and into other things. And more so, like like later into his life, he started to produce like more things like spiritualism than Christianity. And so we would both have like questions together. And then when I was 8 years old, my mom had like an incident, like an accident, where she was like kind of like physically incapacitated, couldn't really do much. That led to more and more health problems. And so my only source of Christian upbringing and influences were kind of taken away during that time. So that's usually where I went from Christianity to agnosticism across the next like 8 to 10 years. And so all of my questions were just met with, I was researching more things other than Christianity. It was Christianity, it was Buddhism, Hinduism, all the other major religions, and other things. Just because I want to know what the truth was, I was truly trying to seek it out. And it's just, and where I was at, there wasn't really answers, and that's where everything kind of culminates in college, and that's where I met Amanda. I was already asking like she kind of referenced it in the other question too, where I was meeting with people weekly. I wanted to find out. I wanted to meet someone who I knew had different beliefs than I did, and I wanted to ask them questions. That was the intent of my other meetings with other people. And the reason that actually I reached out to Amanda is because she claims to be a young earther, a young earth creationist, and I was like, no one actually believes that. So of course I want to. She was just one of the weekly people. I was like, why do you believe what you believe? That was the point of the grilling session.
Proud young earther.
Proud young earther. So that was the reason why we met. So all of the million questions that I had, and she was the perfect person to breach that gap, I guess.
Yeah. So your coming to Christ was very intellectually based.
Right.
Like it really was the evidence that convinced you, right?
Yeah.
So mine I guess is not as exciting, which I guess is kind of a blessing. But I was born and raised in a Christian household. I was homeschooled. My parents taught us about the Bible, in Jesus, and I was baptized when I was 6. And definitely like throughout my whole childhood, like I would have considered myself a Christian. But I realize now that like between the ages of 6 and 12, like I didn't really enjoy reading my Bible. Like I didn't really have like a close relationship with God. Just had problems like disrespecting my parents and just different things like that. And but I definitely would have still like considered myself a Christian this whole time. And then when I was 12, I started going to youth group with my best friend. And after a few months of doing that, there was this one night specifically where they were just having like a regular worship night, and the youth pastor shared the gospel. And I had heard the gospel like a lot of times before, but that one night, like I felt like I was just hearing it for the first time. Like I just like processed that like there's sin, and I needed to confess my sin, and I needed to pray to God and ask him to forgive them. So I did that during the prayer time, and then in the worship afterwards, I felt like I had like felt the Holy Spirit for the first time, like just like the presence in the room and just like in me. And even like when I got home that night, my mom asked me if I had met a boy at church because I was like literally just like glowing and happy. And I was like, no, I actually think it's because of Jesus. And so ever since then, like I wanted to start reading my Bible. I was excited about going to church. I just started having a relationship with God pretty much since that point on. So I don't know if I became a Christian when I was 6 or when I was 12, but yeah, that's my testimony. Okay, I think the last question is, what's your favorite thing about each other? um, let's see. Favorite is hard.
Yeah, I don't like the word favorite because it's like you have to pick the thing other than just like one of the favorites.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say some of things about Cody are like his heart for other people and sharing the truth with other people, since we like that's a big part of how he became a Christian was just finding out the truth. And there's a verse that says you will know the truth and the truth will set you free. So ever since I think he does that, he's just really passionate about sharing that truth with other people. And no matter what, like he'd rather do that than make a lot of money or do other things. So I love that about him. When it comes to like our family, he's always prioritized like me and just making sure like I'm always provided for and taken care of. Like even though our marriage had kind of a crazy start, like I was in college, he just always made sure that like I was focusing on school, that I didn't have to worry about anything else. Like even though when we're moving in, all doing like all these uncertain things, like he always just make sure we're taken care of and provided for, and like I never have to worry or like stress because I know that I have it all taken care of.
Mm. I think my one of my favorite things is I don't like being cheesy. It's like I feel like
It's
doing some of
okay.
this stuff is like it's so cheesy.
It's
Anyways,
okay.
I think mine is like probably just how selfless you are. Like it's like you'll not only for myself, but it's even for others. Like it's like also this like blend of like your peer pressure nature. It's like you have a problem with like doing too much because you're worried about how others would perceive, or like it's more so like yeah. But yeah, I think like I think being selfless is probably the main thing. It's like it's the thing that you hope everyone is. You want everyone to be. But it's the hardest thing to achieve, and you do it pretty great. Even if sometimes it's for the right reasons and sometimes it's for the wrong reasons. Um, but yeah, I think that's probably my favorite thing about you.
Okay, well, I think that's all the questions that we have time for because the video is getting kind of long. But thank you guys for watching, and if you do like the stuff that we're posting so far, please like this video. And if you have more questions, feel free to comment them, and I'll probably answer them in the comments. And our next video is going to be Cody's story about getting diagnosed with cancer. So yeah, that video will be next week, and then we'll be finding out the gender soon. So maybe there'll be a video after that. And yep. All right. See you guys later. Bye.